So I wanted to make a video series about one of the biggest mysteries of the golden age of tango music. And there are several, but this one is very interesting because we have a major orchestra, at least in the beginning of the golden age, that simply disappears because they stop recording. I'm talking about the Donato Orchestra. So if I always say that the golden age is between 1935 and 1945. We can have a lot of discussions about that, but that's my terminology. And with Donato, you see that he's going strong in the beginning. He's great somewhere in the middle, around 1940, and then he just disappears from the scene. And I've also said that a lot of orchestras, well, actually every orchestra, there's a wave in a sense that it's very useful for us DJs. And I've said this several times, is that you first have a lot of really rhythmical music and faster music that gets faster and faster. So from the D'Arienzo Revolution in 1935, the orchestras start to become more rhythmical and also faster. And you even see that with a very interesting example, like Fresedo with Rai is mostly considered like slow romantic music. But in 1938, you see that he increases like the speed of the orchestra in a way, and then you get Fresedo with the Ruiz, and that's mostly more upbeat rhythmical music than what came before. And then after that he slows down, because the point is at some point the orchestras, they all slow down and they become more lyrical, but especially they just slow down. The music is so much slower, and they all do it. So there's not really one orchestra left that suddenly plays like 1939, and they follow each other's trends, and that's also logical in a sense. But yeah, there's one exception here, or maybe not, but we'll see about that, because Donato is mostly celebrated as a bit of a cheerful orchestra, cheerful sound, with rhythmical music, not always fast, but always at least a beat. But then, like in the second half of the golden age, if we go towards 1945, there is nothing, because in 1942 the orchestra stops recording, and we don't have anything until well, I have the discography here, until more or less 1944, and then he stops another year, and then but the music he records in those years, in the final years, has nothing to do with what came before, so we can disregard that. But what I find very interesting is that Donato stops recording, and there are several explanations for that. So Michael Lavoca, in his famous book about the Golden Age orchestras, says that Donato lost his most important musician, Bertolin, who was an accordion player, which is very strange for a tango orchestra, but it added some flavor of cheerfulness to his music. But this musician leaves, and he what Lavoca does is he highlights other orchestras where the same happened. So the orchestra declined after an important member left. So that's very much Lavoca's theory about that. And he says, well, he tried, but he didn't. He tried to go on, but he didn't record anything. But there's also another explanation by El Espejero, Igor, who says that, well, he's not the only one who says that, but he wrote an interesting article about this many years ago already, I think. Is that because Donato had three singers, and two men and a woman. So Horacio Lagos was married with my brain. Okay, I can see in the discography, Lita Morales. But there was also Romeo Gavio, or Gavioli, as is his full name, which was shortened as an artist name. It's said that Gavioli and Morales had an affair, and that's why, well, it's like a weird love triangle. And for some reason, like, you know, when Lagos found out, or there's also kinds of mysteries surrounding this. So Donato is also a mysterious orchestra in that sense, because there's this really weird story of singers fighting with each other over a woman. But you know, I was a friend of Michael Krugman, and before Michael Krugman very sadly took his own life, he told me from Buenos Aires that he thought that this theory was not true. So he thought that it had nothing to do like the breakup with or something like that. So I will never find out, because he had these clear ideas and I cannot find out because he's not there anymore. But he didn't agree with these theories about this love triangle and how it ended and how it impacted the orchestra. But anyway, there's several theories about why the Donato orchestra declined. Yes, but it's interesting that, and that's said that before, like, we do still have 1942, and we see that Donato slows down his music and it becomes more romantic, and it's like Troilo. Like Troilo in 1941 is still very upbeat, and then in 1942 it's different music. It's slower, much slower, as with other orchestras as well. But what we see in Donato is that the same happens. So Lavoca writes in his book that maybe Donato wasn't so fond of this slower style. Like Canaro, he couldn't keep up with these trends of more romantic, complex music. But what we actually see is that these few tracks from 1942 are actually really beautiful, at least in my opinion, but they're also quite special. And it can still be true that Donato decided that this music was not for him. But as we shall see, because that's what this series is about, this is extremely rich music. And what's also striking about it is, as far as I can judge, because it's always hard to judge like what all other DJs around the world are doing, but I feel this is very unknown music in many ways. And I recently played a tanda of this, and it's actually the first time I dared to play it. I was away for 4 years, and before that I had made the tanda, but I never actually got to play it. And now at some point I played it because I thought the moment was the right moment, and I heard from someone else as I played the tanda, and I danced myself. Was the last tanda of the evening. Another DJ ran to my computer just to see what the hell I was playing. And I think that's kind of the level of how unknown this is, but we're going to find out. So if you're a curious DJ, you can just go check out discography or Tango DJ .at or the Tango info to see what tracks I'm talking about. But you can also wait for me to introduce them to you. So I'm looking forward to talking a bit about these songs and about the style, and that's what we're going to do. So thanks for listening to the introduction.